Hey, you. Have you played survival mode? Did you like it? Or perhaps you didn't get to play survival mode for some reason. Well, today I'm going to go over some mods to make your own survival mode. So obviously we're going to need to eat, and then drink, and of course sleep, as well as keep warm in the cold lands of Skyrim. So first up, we have Campfire, complete camping system. I actually go over pretty much everything in this mod in my recent video, so I implore you to just go look at that video if you have any questions about this. But the gist of this is that you can build your own campfire in a very realistic, immersive way, as well as a tent, and you can, of course, cook your food there, all that. And you can place it anywhere in the world too, which is the only camping mod that I've seen that actually lets you place it wherever you want. And again, if you have questions beyond that, just check out my video. It will go over pretty much everything. Portable Tools is another camping mod that will have pretty much any furniture or decorative item that the Campfire Complete Camping System doesn't have for your campsite. The only hitch is, and the reason why I would say that this one isn't better, is because if you place something down, it's always going to be facing north. I think it's north. But regardless, it's always going to be facing one direction. And it's also not going to matter where you're standing, anything like that. It does not work like how Campfire does, where you can place it down wherever you want. But it does have more furniture items, so if there's anything missing from Campfire, Portable Tools has you covered. Also, in your survival mode, you're going to be traveling a lot, and horses needed an upgrade to begin with. This is also a very immersive mod. As long as you have a Nord Warhorn, which it allows you to craft one, you can call your horse, as well as giving your horse like inventory, and you got options. I forgot to mention in the Campfire mod too, you have a lot of options to change what you want. Same thing on well-tamed horse. But I figured the carry weight for your horse would actually be pretty useful in survival mode and would have made horses a little bit more useful. You also get a 50% speed boost as well for your owned horses, and plenty of other things here too. This is like honestly the perfect horse mod. And yeah, your carrying capacity is up to 1,000 pounds on your horse, so you got a good amount of carrying capacity. And that's pretty realistic to a horse's carry weight, to be honest. Especially some fantasy Skyrim horses. And they're gonna need it, because in our survival mode, we really have lowered the carry weight. You can of course raise this up with stamina as you level up. But lower carry weight will make your carry weight 125, but not just you, your followers and other humanoid NPCs as well. So they're not going to be able to carry very much either. Balanced weights. This is going to make pretty much small items actually weigh less, and large items such as armor weigh quite a bit. So this combined with lower carry weight is going to make a whole harder time for you to actually decide on what you're going to take. And it'll make some perks like having your armor weigh nothing actually really pay off. Septums have weight. This will make your septum have weight. For every 1,000 gold, you will have 1 extra carry weight. For instance, if I had 50,000 gold on me, I would have 50 pounds. 1 pound for each 1,000. Which I feel like is pretty reasonable. That is pretty reasonable as far as gameplay and immersion. Like, coins should have weight. Can you imagine if you honestly were carrying around like that much gold coin? Like, being able to at least carry 50,000 gold for only 50 pounds. That's not bad, honestly. Lockpicks have weight, same premise. Although I'm not exactly sure on the weight calculations here. if I'm not mistaken, it might be anywhere from 5 to 10 lockpicks. Sorry. Yeah, 5 to 10 lockpicks would be probably around a pound. I think it might actually be 10. I can't remember how this weight system works. Deadly diseases. This is going to make diseases actually affect you in a way that you will not go walking around the whole game and not realize you have a fucking disease. Like ataxia, making it so you can no longer pick pockets or locks. Bone break fever, you have no stamina. Brain rot, you have no magicka. And rattles and rock joint. Oh, don't even get me started on rock joint. Your melee attacks are useless. And it is not joking. You literally do no damage with your melee attacks. You have to switch to a bow or magic or just fucking run because you are quite literally useless. This is what I'm talking about. Like, the only ones that might not hit you that bad are the rattles and Whitbane, because it's just your stamina or your magicka hardly regenerates. But everything else that, like, you cannot tell me you're not gonna be like, oh, yeah, there's definitely something wrong. I have a disease. I need to get that fixed because that's gonna be annoying. Vanilla Skyrim to me were just a minor inconvenience that I could go the entire game and not even realize I have. Hunting payoff is going to raise most animals' gold like amount for like their pelts and stuff, as well as adding werebeast pelts, werebear and werewolf pelts, hagraven heads, and troll pelts. So they actually show up in the loot list and are fairly valuable themselves, I guess, so you can kind of make a Monster Hunter playthrough and actually make a little bit of money off it. It's not too crazy, so like the prices aren't going to be extreme, but if you look up default vanilla prices and then look up the prices that this mod, you'll see where it is raised up. It's just not an incredible amount to make it too OP. And I really like the Monster Hunter kind of aspect of it too. Better bounty gold is just to make it actually worth our time going out in dangerous lands of Skyrim, and it'll make bandits 500, forsworn 750, giants 1,500, and dragons 5,000. Also, the companion's dragon Radiant Quest will also balance out, I think, to 5,000. I think it's 3,000 originally, and then it gives you an extra 2,000. So, yeah, it'll actually be worth going out fighting all this shit in our survival mode. iCrime realistic penalties will increase the fine for crimes, as well as increasing the time that you'll spend in your jail cell. So, basically the loading screen might take a little bit longer. This should mean you also will take a little bit more, it'll reduce your stats a little bit more. Realistic enemies will simply fix the radius from swinging, as well as a little bit of movement changes, but that's not too extreme. The main thing it's going to fix is the radius cone between like you and the NPC swinging, so those weird hits that don't actually land don't land and do damage. Better combat AI is going to simply make the AI actually try. They'll actually use the combat mechanics that they have at their disposal to try to win. Sometimes they might fall back on their old vanilla ways and maybe give you an extra bash than they necessarily needed to, but for the most part, they actually try to bash when you power attack, and they actually capitalize on it. And sometimes they even pull off some pretty nifty combos. It just really depends. This also affects animals and creatures too, which I really like, because I don't just want to make the human NPCs, act better. I want everything to kind of try to kill me a little bit better and act a little bit more natural. Fair Stagger will allow us to actually take stagger damage. Like, normally for the player, we don't take the full stagger animation, we just kind of take one step back kind of thing, and our camera shakes around. We have like a superiority. But if we put Fair Stagger on, as the picture shows there, we can straight up be knocked down to our knees. And with better combat AI, you'd be surprised at how much this can actually get you killed. But it makes the combat much more intense and realistic. That you're not just... I mean, I guess if you are just wanting to be, you know, the Dragonborn badass, that's all well and good. But if you want to feel like you're still an average person who just happens to have the Thum, then Fair Stagger would definitely do that. Even in regular vanilla, just having the ability to actually be staggered and knocked down and stuff will definitely play a big part in your combat experience. Balanced damage scale will make the difficulties all equal damage between NPCs and players, but more or less it's just going to be considering what you're using rather than just making the NPC or you superior than the other. Supreme Storms. This just simply makes the storms actually stormy, like snowstorms or like a blizzard, and rainstorms are thick as hell, and actually you can see, like, I guess it wouldn't be the wind, or I guess it is the wind like pushing the rain, like kind of like smoky looking. Basically it looks just way more intense storms. You can tell when it's stormy for sure. And we'll need to, because immersive cold weather and cold water will be how we get our cold weather system as close as we can. So in a rainstorm or a snowstorm, you'll have your regeneration for your stamina or your health reduced, like slowed, and sometimes maybe even stopped, but it could just be because it's going really slow. In the rain, your stamina regeneration rate will suffer. In the snow, your stamina and your health regeneration rate will suffer. The only way to avoid this, if you have to be outside, is carry a torch. Otherwise, you must get inside a building, a cave, just an interior cell. They did, however, get the cold water to act pretty much like survival mode. If you're in cold water, your health will go down and you will freeze to death and die. But they took it a step further, pun intended here, as even if your feet are in the water, you will take a little bit of damage and you can still die from this. Oh yeah, it also brings down your stamina, I forgot to mention that. Not too big of a deal since you're already in the water. It's mainly the health that you're going to want to worry about. Simple survival, eat, drink, sleep. Pretty self-explanatory. This is going to be how we add our survival, eating, drinking, and sleeping system. The way this mod does this is honestly really great. It uses real time and game time together. So if you eat something or you drink something, you have up to an hour depending on what you ate. Some things, you know, give you less time. If they're like an apple only gives you like 5 minutes, I think. But that's real time. So you actually can run around, play the game, and as long as you don't fast travel, wait, sleep, or do anything that just passes time, then you have that full amount of real time to actually play. But if you do happen to fast travel, wait, or sleep, or whatever, don't worry, it's not a big deal. The game time will actually affect your real time appropriately. Like, it calculates perfectly how to do that. Somehow it does it. It's honestly, it's pretty great. I wish more systems, like survival systems, actually worked like this. I feel like it's balanced for the players to actually be able to play the game, enjoy the game, but also not feel like they're just being consumed by the eating, drinking, and sleeping. I guess another pun there. Alright, and one big thing that I need to tell you about this mod is when you start out, you must eat an apple. Any apple, green, red, it don't matter, as long as it's an apple. You must eat it as soon as you possibly can, because that is how you actually get this mod to work. You will see things changed, like in food and stuff. You'll see like hunger sated, shit like that. But you won't be able to actually use it until you eat an apple. So just remember that. Eat an apple to start this mod. Big thing you need to know that. And yeah, I guess I'll just add It does add water, so you can actually drink clean water, and there's dirty water. It takes two to make a clean water at a cooking spit, or cooking thing in general. I guess besides an oven, I don't think you can make it there. It also adds an hour of hunger sated for the Namira ring, so cannibals are friendly with this mod. Werewolves also have an addition here where they can get their well-rested bonus by just doing werewolf shit, eating hearts and stuff. It's a pretty big side note, so it's kind of got a werewolf survival added to it. And then a downside to this is, and it might not even be a downside, it's one part I think is actually intentional. The other part is kind of a downside because they didn't know that this mod or creation club was going to exist. So if you eat salt, flour, carrots, some shit like that is not going to actually sate your hunger at all. It might give you a couple points of health. That is it. That is normal. That is what this mod's supposed to do. That's not broken or not going completely over food. And another thing is the fishing creation club did not exist when this mod came out, and I guess they haven't updated that. So a lot of the fishing club stuff is not going to work for hunger sated. So that's a bit of a bummer, but salmon's still available because salmon was vanilla, so you can do that. And luckily there's a lot of salmon in Skyrim, so you can still kind of be a fisherman. And since this had a werewolf in survival mode, I decided might as well bring up vampires and magic because it has its own survival mode, and it also does a lot for your vampires. This is a pretty big overhaul, but it's a pretty damn good one. And last but not least, wouldn't be survival mode if you could fast travel willy-nilly. There's plenty of other mods you could add for alternative means to fast travel, so it doesn't feel like such a commodity. But I just went with the simple, just completely disable it, as I do kind of like forcing myself to actually travel, and it is more immersive instead of just teleporting everywhere essentially. Well, there you have it. We made our own survival mode using mods. Until next time, guys. Bye.